All right. You know what? I didn't do any tests. I tried to jump right into this. I didn't check if anything. Okay. Everything is turned up. Mics are turned up. Everything looks like it's lit and ready to go. Um, let's see.
I'm Elizabeth Milner. Before we get
All right. Hopefully, everything is working. Um, yeah. So what's up? I'm Melanie, a mom, single mom out of CT, doing some reactions today. Today we are reacting to Law and Crime Lip Filler Mom, who was actually getting a BBL while her baby died. I don't know. I feel like we need to work on our title some. Maybe lied about what she was actually doing. I feel like they wanted to get the words lip filler and BBL in that title. But we're going to see what happened. I just I don't know where our priorities be. I don't think I would just put stuff off, you know. If I got procedures and little things that I want to do and I can't really do it cuz I can't get someone to watch my kid, I'm probably not going to do it. I had a friend get a BBL and she scheduled everything. It was all ready to go and her she needed people like when you go and get those kind of surgeries. Um well here I'm just here to share my opinion and learn something from videos here. And I'll share that story a little bit later. But yeah, let's see what we can learn from this young mother about how maybe you should just wait until you have proper daycare to go get certain procedures done. Maybe we'll end there. Maybe we'll be like, yo, these people bugging. She was alright. But here we go. Yeah, special shout out to Law and Crime for letting us use this video. We'll learn something from it, I'm sure.
to this case, there's a reason Law and Crime is the go-to spot for true crime content. Just like there's a reason Morgan & Morgan is America's largest personal injury law firm. They have more than 1,000 attorneys.
All right, we're not gonna do that. Where's she at? All right.
Beautiful med spa. When they arrived on scene, officers quickly learned that 2-year-old Amillio Gutierrez and his 1-year-old brother Amillio had been left unattended in their mom's car for more than 2 hours. Investigators
Jeez.
spoke with Emilio's mom, Maya Hernandez, to find out what happened and why she would leave her 2 young children in a car unattended on a hot summer afternoon. The 20-year-old reportedly told investigators that she was at the med spa for a cosmetic procedure. Initially, police said it was an appointment to get lip filler. Maya told investigators she arrived to the med spa around 2 that afternoon. Then she went inside, saying she left her 2 sons in their car seats with crackers, milk, candy, and her phone propped up so they could watch TV. So she seemed to think nothing terrible would happen because Maya left the air conditioner on in her 2022 Toyota Corolla. But here's the thing. Officers learned her car automatically shuts off after an hour of inactivity. Officials say the outside temperature reached 101 degrees while Maya was at her appointment. Officials say that type of heat can raise.
I want to say these kids is soft out here. That's what I want to say. But as a mom, if I had to go somewhere and leave, I never left the kids in the car. But I would always joke with my kids. Like, my rule was if they can't get themselves out of the seat, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's too hot, we dying in here. And they can't figure out that they're dying and get out of the seat themselves, I can't leave them in the car. Okay, because when I was little, my mother could roll the window down, tell me to stay my ass in the car, run in the store, grab some shit real quick, and come right out. Okay, that's when I was little. But that probably hardly ever happened. But if we was in that car and it was getting hot, You know what I'm saying? Windows was coming down. That's how old I am. Okay, I got a little bit older and we had the ding to let the window down, but if we got hot, we let the windows down. But them kids was too little. They could not undo the seatbelt or let the window down. Don't tell me both her babies died.
The temperature inside the car to 143 degrees.
Ugh.
According to the Bakersfield PD offense report, Maya was told she could bring her children into the waiting room, but she reportedly was concerned about how long the procedure would take. During that long stretch of time from 2 to 4:30, investigators say she
How could it be too long for them to be in the waiting room, but not too long for them to sit in that hot ass car? Explain that part, because that don't make no sense, miss. Young miss.
didn't check on her kids. Maya said she left the med spa around 4:30. She noticed one of her children seizing, foam coming out of his mouth, and he was shaking. Maya said she performed CPR, then called police. Officers noted the front passenger side window was rolled down. When the officer placed his arm in the window, Maya's son was warm to touch. The offense report says Maya Hernandez admitted that she knew it was irresponsible to leave her kids in the car, and she thought about it when she got out of the car, but had no justification as to why she left them anyway. After being treated in the hospital, Maya's 2-year-old son Mateo was placed in protective custody, while
Yeah.
1-year-old Amillio was pronounced dead. She was charged with second-degree murder, involuntary.
Oh, that's sad. One of them died. But you know what sucks? No one. Why would you book it if you didn't have anybody to watch them? Like, why would you book that?
Manslaughter plus 2 counts of willful cruelty to a child. The 20-year-old pleaded not guilty, and her bail was set at more than $1 million. It's
Yeah.
now December 8th, almost 6 months after Emilio's death, and the case is already in front of a jury.
The defendant sat inside of the lobby, in a chair, socializing, engaging in conversations, speaking to other patrons, helping another mother watch her child for over 2 hours while Amillio perished in the car, while Amillio burned from the inside out.
Yeah, pan over to her.
She did not leave that building a single time between 2:05.
Why would you help somebody else with their kids and not be like you should have tag teamed it with that lady, like, yo, miss. While I'm doing mine, I'll watch yours, and I'm gonna bring mine in here, and you watch mine. Y'all could have did it together. Y'all could have watched them kids together, or you could have just waited until you had someone to watch them.
p.m. and 4:30 to check on her sons. She chose to ignore all of her responsibilities. She ignored the fact that she had children that day. She ignored the fact that they were in the car. She spoke about her children, ladies and gentlemen. She told the other patrons in the spa that she had children. What she failed to acknowledge, what she failed to ever say, is that her children were in the car. She didn't tell anybody this information because she knew it was wrong. She knew her 2 babies should not be in the car without her in the heat. But you will hear this morning that when officers arrived, Amillio was unconscious. He was lifeless. His lips and limbs were blue. He was limp, and he was not breathing. That was his condition at the med spa before going to the hospital. Amillio was ultimately transported to the hospital, at which point officers came in.
The baby got tortured to death. There's no excuse. Like, I hope the defense is gonna be like, she didn't know what to do. She lined up a babysitter, and then the babysitter canceled on her. So then she was gonna lose all of her money if she had to cancel the appointment, because these spas be doing you like that. You be calling and you be like, I can't come in. I got an emergency. Can I reschedule? And you will lose all of your money just like that. Like, for real, for real. Like, I'm a massage therapist, and one of the spas I work at, if you don't call like 8 hours, maybe sometimes even like 24 hours ahead of time, if you don't cancel the night like 24 hours before your appointment, they will still charge your card for the session and you will lose your session. If you no show, they're charging your card for the session. You can't call them for any reason and be like, I can't come in like day of, hour before, 2 hours before. Like, I bet you. How much you want to bet baby daddy was supposed to watch him and changed his mind on her? And she said, fuck it, and went anyway. Sounds like it. Sounds like something a baby daddy would do.
The contact with Mateo. Mateo was not in nearly the same condition as Amillio, but he was lethargic, he was red, and he was drenched in sweat when he was ultimately located. And it's important to recognize and remember, ladies and gentlemen, that not only were these two babies trapped in the car, they were trapped and strapped inside of their car seats. They could not leave even if they were able to. At Adventist Health Hospital, Amillio, as we discussed earlier, started on her children. When she left that business at about 4:33 p.m., she was going to her car to get her phone to pay for her procedure. It was by happenstance at that time that she saw Amillio and Mateo and the conditions they were in.
She only went out there she never went out there to check on him. That's crazy. Like, maybe even have, there's no reason. I was about to say, maybe even have like a camera in the car or a baby monitor in the car. Like, for a fact that when you out there for an hour, you leave your car on for an hour, it's cutting off. Like, you know these things. Everyone knows these things. Jeez.
At that time, she brought Amillio into the business, flagged down Isabel Carrion, who you will hear from tomorrow. Isabel brought Mateo into the business. And you're going to hear from Shelby and Ian that they were shocked to learn that she had children with her based upon her behaviors inside of the spa. There are no accidents in this case.
The biggest trial bombshell, though, came on December 11th. The prosecution called the nurse who was conducting Maya's procedure that afternoon. Harmony Pacheco testified Maya was there to get a liquid BBL, not lip fillers as originally reported. Liquid BBLs are non-surgical and normally involve filler being injected to the buttocks to, make it bigger. Harmony, while on the stand, confirmed the appointment only lasted 15 to 20 minutes. After the appointment, she noticed Maya leave to get her phone to pay, and when she returned, baby Amillio was in her arms. According to Harmony's testimony, he was purple. He had foam in his mouth, but I didn't get such a great look at the child. I shouted for someone to call the ambulance, and then she went back outside. She testified she tried to cool him down by taking him to the restroom, wetting some napkins, and giving him fresh water because he looked like he was going to pass out. Now, meanwhile, Maya's defense planned to concede involuntary manslaughter and her cruelty charges, meaning her defense admitted right off the bat she was responsible for those charges. However, they wanted to challenge second-degree murder.
On June 29th, this year, Miss Hernandez left from Visalia around noon.
I'm going to speed up because I know
and she drove in her gray 2022 Toyota Corolla hybrid.
He about to talk a bunch of bullshit.
And she drove to Bakersfield to have a cosmetic procedure at 31 South Rail Road. Miss Hernandez arrives in Bakersfield at about 1:10 p.m. Prior to leaving Visalia, Miss Hernandez and her children ate breakfast that day. The children ate fruit cups and bananas for breakfast, and later in the day for lunch, the children ate sandwiches and fruit. Throughout the morning and the day, the children had access to milk, water, and juice.
Hot-ass
Around
milk.
1:30 p.m., Miss Hernandez went into the business to check on the status of her appointment. She returned to the car and she did text Nurse Harmony Pacheco. Pacheco was the nurse providing the procedure. Miss Hernandez went into the business around 2 p.m. for what she thought was a 15-minute medical procedure. Before she goes into the business, she left her kids in their car seats with cookies, a bottle of milk each, and with Mateo, she left her phone so that he could watch TV. Before she went into the business, Miss Hernandez left her keys under the seat. The car was running. The air conditioning was on. Miss Hernandez thought that the car would stay running. that the air conditioning would likewise remain on, and that Mateo and Amillio would be okay. I want to pause for a second, because law enforcement would later determine two things. One, there's no black box information in this case, and what I mean by that is that the car's data recorder cannot provide any on-off times for the engine relevant to this case. And number two, law enforcement verifies with Toyota mechanics that the car shuts off after an hour if the shift lever stays in park, and that timer system in that car is reset if the brake pedal is depressed or if the shift lever moves, neither of which unfortunately happened in this case. Things at the business were running behind, and Ms. Hernandez stayed in the waiting room too long. And when the procedure was done, she went back out to the car and discovered that something was very wrong with Mateo and Amillio. Mateo's cheeks were red, and that's something that happens with him according to what Ms. Hernandez will later.
If I get there to an appointment for something that's not life-threatening, and they're running like an hour behind, you could have waited in your car with your kids. Or been like, I got my kids with me. I'm wait in the car with them. Can you call me when they're ready for me? Or give me a time to come back in. There was no point in her waiting there for that long. Like, don't even put me in a room. Like, it's not life-threatening. It's not your heart. It's not. Oh, boy.
Tell law enforcement. And when Ms. Hernandez took Amillio out of his car seat, Amillio started shaking. In her own words, Ms. Hernandez starts freaking out. And she initially believes that Amillio's having a seizure because Mateo had a seizure once before, and to her it looked the same. Ms. Hernandez calls 911 twice, and in between takes Amillio inside the business to the nurse. Ms. Hernandez attempts CPR on Amillio, and 911 helps her with that, but tragically, it doesn't work. And neither do the attempts by medical personnel. Later that day, Amillio is pronounced deceased at 17:48 hours, which Ms. Hernandez learns during her first interview with law enforcement. Mateo survives, thankfully, because his sweat glands have developed. Amillio succumbs to hyperthermia because his have not. Now, you've already heard that this case involves 4 counts. I want to say at the beginning of the case, here and now, that I intend to concede the counts related to involuntary manslaughter and child endangerment that are charged in counts 2, 3, and 4 when I speak to you again near the end of the case. That doesn't relieve the DA of the burden of proof of all the counts. But the defense is challenging the second-degree murder charge in count 1, and when I speak to you again at the end of the case, I am going to ask you to find her not guilty of that charge.
When it was time to present the defense's case, Maya took the stand. She testified she packed her sons into the car and they headed to Bakersfield. Jurors heard a recording of her 911 call where she reportedly was speaking frantically.
We can go back to regular speed now.
Frantically with dispatchers as she attempted CPR. But during her cross-examination, prosecutors questioned her about the text messages indicating she was allowed to bring her children inside the med spa for her appointment. Prosecutors also questioned the other risks of Maya leaving 2 young babies inside a car unattended for more than 2 hours, like the risk of her car being stolen or her children choking while being left by themselves. Maya reportedly responded she didn't think of those scenarios at the time. The 20-year-old testified she thought her sons would be safe inside her car and she wasn't expecting her car to shut off while it was parked. She said she only recognized the consequences of
20 years old with 2 babies. Ugh. That's a lot. Let me shut up. I was 19 when I had my first one. Probably 23 when I had my second one. Let me calm down. You get old and you forget where you came from.
for decisions after what happened to her sons. It's now December 16th, 2025, the time for both sides to give their final message to the jury.
She knew that she had a stroller in her car that both of the boys could sit in, be strapped in, just like in their car seats, and sit in the spa.
That baby bump.
She chose none of that, ladies and gentlemen. She arrived in Bakersfield. She chose to go inside at approximately 2:04 p.m. And at that time, she chose to leave her children in the car. She sat inside that business in the same chair from 2:05 to 4:09 p.m. Did not move from the chair, ladies and gentlemen. You watched that. She didn't get up to check on her appointment time. She didn't get up to ask how much longer. She didn't get up to tell anybody she was in a hurry. She didn't get up to check on her kids. At 4:09, she goes back for her procedure, and at 4:33, she leaves the building. Even at this time, ladies and gentlemen, 4:33 p.m., she does not leave to go check on her kids. And you heard that through her interviews with detectives. She left to go get her phone to pay. Even when she left at 4:33, her children were not the priority. She did not leave to go get her children. She left to go get her money. Again, with Maya as the priority.
I don't get why she didn't just go wait in the lobby. Like, wait in the car. And then bring the kids in. Like, 20 years old, we know better. Like, everyone should know better now. You cannot leave your kids in a car. Cannot. Like, I will fuck around and say, only time I ever leave my kids in a car is when I'm going in to pay for gas. But I bring the keys with me. I lock the doors. I go in. I pay. I run back out. I ain't got the cash to pay at the pump. You need to leave. They hold too much money when you pay at the pump. So I run in. I pay. I come out. Yeah. Like, I don't got the, And then they always want extra shit. Like, they want candy and shit. Nah, we're staying in the car. That's it. That's probably the only time I leave my kids in the car. If I'm going grocery shopping and they're with me, they got to come in with me. If I'm at the mall and they with me, they got to come in with me. I remember when my middle son, he's 19 now. But my dad took him to the store, and he was probably like 10 at the time. And my dad ran inside Walmart and left my son in the store. And my son told me he freaked out because he thought he saw somebody coming towards the car. My dad left all the windows down and went and left him there. But then my son was like, he freaked out because he kept seeing people walking back and forth, and ran in the store to look for my dad because my dad was taking long. But I guess at the same time, my dad was coming to the car. And my dad got to the car and he flipped out because Drew wasn't in the car no more. And he was like, I'll never do that again. And I was like, you should never do that. Don't leave him in the car. Just take him in the store with you. Let him help you.
Not her children. You heard from witness Shelby Murch that
she probably would have been better off leaving them in the house by themselves with the phone and TV on and the snacks. That probably would have been safer than leaving them in the car.
was a patron that day at the med spa. She was also waiting for her procedure. She was there approximately 30 minutes before the defendant arrived. She told you and she described for you the atmosphere in the waiting room. And you ultimately got to see the atmosphere, ladies and gentlemen. But Miss Murch described it for what her plans were for the 4th of July in a few days. What she didn't tell anybody inside of the waiting room was that her 2 little babies were actually there. What she didn't tell anybody in the waiting room was that her 2 little babies were strapped in her car. She testified, oh, I didn't tell them because they're strangers and I don't want to tell them about my life. But ladies and gentlemen, this is where you get to use your common sense. You know better. You know that's not why she withheld that information. She was talking to these people about getting things injected into her butt. She was talking to them about her plans. She was talking to them about the fact that she had children. Oh, but the fact that she had them with her was simply too personal? No, ladies and gentlemen. She knew that it was wrong and that it was criminal, and that if they knew, she would have a problem. His limbs just hanging. She came in and brought Amillio into the nurse's room. Shortly after that, Miss Murch saw Isabel Carrion come in with Mateo. Ladies and gentlemen, these characteristics, these observations are of the child that survived. These observations, gasping for air, bubbling mouth, hot to the... Bobby also told you something that was very telling, ladies and gentlemen. She could have asked one of them, hey, if I bring my kids in here, can you watch them for the few minutes I'm in my procedure?
That's what I said.
She knew there were options.
That's what I said. I mean, if there's other chicks in there with their kids, hey, you watch mine, I'll watch yours. Let's get this done. Okay, that's what I said. That's what I would have did. Or left them at home if it's only supposed to be X amount of time. It was just 15 minutes. They a little too little to leave at home though. See, I would have waited to do some junk like that until my kids was like 13. Like my kids was at my mom's house all the time until the older two turned 13, all the time. They were never because I was always at work. I always had to work. It wasn't like I was doing dumb stuff. I was going to work, then I was doing I tried to go to like some business school, and then I went to business school first, which was like a complete waste of time. And then I went to a couple years later, I went to massage school, and they were at my parents' house like every day. Like they were never home because I needed somebody to watch them. But the second they turned 13, the second the kid number 2 turned 13, their asses was home. They was loving it. They was loving it.
She chose not to take those options because that would have interfered with her break.
You heard testimony that they thought that she was going to run out. They thought she was going to dine and dash on the BBL. So take that for what you will. If people can read other people's nonverbal cues, it isn't that surprising that someone would be cautious, because we all send signals to each other. Some good, some bad, some friendly, some mad, etc. For the medical witnesses, Dr. Riley was the ER doc. Dr. Glenisi testified that there were no abrasions, bruises, lacerations, scars, or burn marks. We had the 2 nurses that testified from the ER. I'll come back to Musako down the road. Moves the needle. Not saying the guy did a bad job at all. What I'm saying is, it's okay that he is upset with this. Anyone would be. Nab and Jordan. Each interview speaks for itself. You have the video. You will have the video. Maya taking accountability doesn't equal conscious disregard. Those are different concepts. Maya thought the AC would stay on. That she said that in the first.
I think I get why she's being charged with second degree, because it's like you should know better. Like you know that if you leave your kids in a hot car, something's gonna happen. They're gonna get hurt. So to like disregard that and just go, and then there's options popping up in your face to like do something different. They probably would have looked at her crazy because she brought the younger kids in, but there's no reason. There's literally no reason. There's no reason for it at all. Like, I think the only thing I'd say that I'd be like upset with the doctor's office about is if we didn't find that out. We didn't find out if the doctor's office had what the cancellation policy was. Because I bet if they would have talked about that, they might have sympathized with her a little bit. Did she say, I don't think she said why she didn't have a babysitter. I skipped around so much, but I don't think she said why she didn't have a babysitter. I feel like he argued the wrong things. Because no matter what she dead ass wrong, there's no defending it. But I guess I would have maybe like, yeah, that would probably be my only defense. I booked it. My babysitter canceled last minute. They would not let me reschedule for another day so I could find somebody to watch them. If I didn't show up, I would have lost my money altogether. So, and it was like the only money I had. That would be the only excuse I could come up with for not just canceling the appointment and booking it another day. And maybe they would have felt her on that. I don't know.
First interview. She didn't know the car would turn off. She left the fob under the seat. She left cookies, bottles, a fruit roll-up, an iPhone for Mateo, and she left them in car seats. That's what she testified to. She also said she never read the manual. She bought it, and she started driving it. So again, do with that what you will. You already heard the 911 call, and I hope you'll listen to it again. That call was frantic. Listen to her voice in that call. She tried to ride in the ambulance, and she was not allowed. When the DA crossed Maya, counts 2, 3, and 4 were proven. And I also said, to be fair to the DA, she has to meet her burden of proof, right? That's the law. She has to meet her burden of proof, but we're conceding 2, 3, and 4. My point is, Maya was criminally negligent. That much is clear. Her behavior was absolutely more than ordinary carelessness, inattention, or mistaken judgment. She was reckless in a way that created a high risk of death, or GBI, and a reasonable person would have known that acting in that way would create such a risk. That's why this is involuntary manslaughter and child endangerment. That's exactly why it is. Maya didn't know time of death for Amillio. Maya tried to call CPR. Maya tried CPR on the 911 call with the assistance from the dispatcher. Mm-hmm. If Maya knew when she Snapchatted her sister that Amillio was dead, why ask now? It's hyperbole. It's what we always engage in, right? Oh my gosh, he's dead, right? Maya asked the guards and they didn't know. Maya's reaction was one of emotional shock per Dr. Musako. I had to do that. I had to call him to get his opinion on that. But is that really surprising? I'm not trying to minimize my own expert, but I don't just get to say stuff. I have to give you a basis. That'd be like the recreation. I have to say, hey, this is an expert. These are the tests that he performed.
You feel that further deliberation would be pointless? Is that accurate? Yes. For the group, is that accurate? Yes. You feel that further deliberation?
That'd be like the recreation. I have to say, hey, this is an expert. These are the tests that he performed. This is his opinion on this case. The point here is that Maya did everything right as soon as she could.
The jury had a huge
After
task.
she did
They would be the
everything
ones
wrong.
deciding, is Maya guilty of what she's been charged with? Is she not guilty? When the verdict was
After she did everything wrong. 'Cause she did everything wrong with that. Should never she should have just brought him inside with her.
delivered, the jury's decision left a lot of people stunned.
Like, you don't want to look like your ghetto single mom. Like, you don't want to look ghetto in the middle of doing probably the ghettoest thing in the world, aka getting a BBL.
We feel that further deliberation would be pointless. Is that accurate? Yes. For the group, is that accurate?
Yes.
Yes. No one's indicating yes. Okay, so I'm going to ask each one of you the same question. It's actually multiple questions in one. If any of these things you believe would be helpful, let me know. Pardon me? Yes. Is there anything further? I'm just asking juror number one right now. We'll go down the line all the way. Is there anything further closing argument on a specific issue from the attorneys? Any clarification of the law by me? Any questions that you have of the court that you think would be of assistance?
It was deadlocked? That's crazy. That's crazy. Deadlocked. That's crazy.
And reaching unanimous verdict. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Counsel satisfied? Yes. You have reached a verdict as to counts 3 and 4. Is that accurate? Yes. If you hand the verdict form to our bailiff, and we'll take the verdict on those 2 counts.
The people of the state of California versus Maya Hernandez, case BF 205702A, verdict. Bakersfield, California, December 18, 2025. Third count. We, the jury, impaneled to try the above entitled case, find the defendant, Maya Hernandez, guilty of child abuse likely to produce great bodily harm or death of Amillio G. in violation of Section 273A, paren A of the Penal Code as charged in the third count of the information, signed foreperson. Finding on Penal Code Section 12022.95, death of a child. We, the jury, impaneled to try the above entitled case, find it to be true that Amillio G. died as a result of the crime, charged in count 3, signed foreperson. Fourth count. We, the jury, impaneled to try the above entitled case, find the defendant, Maya Hernandez, guilty of child abuse likely to produce great bodily harm or death of Mateo G. in violation of Section 273A, paren A of the Penal Code as charged in the fourth count of the information, signed foreperson.
It's unclear if prosecutors will retry Maya on counts 1 and 2, those charges being second-degree murder and involuntary manslaughter. That decision should be revealed on January 12th when attorneys on both sides meet for a status hearing. Maya Hernandez still faces sentencing for the child endangerment convictions. Those charges reportedly carry a sentence of up to 6 years in prison. Thanks for tuning into this episode of Inside the Crime. I'm Elizabeth Milner.
All right, so they got her for the child abuse and the child neglect causing death, I guess. She got lucky. Man, she got lucky. But they can retry her on the, I guess, the manslaughter and the second-degree murder. I don't know. I would. I personally feel like if you're gonna play those stupid type of games with your kids, you gotta take those stupid prizes. Like, there was no reason to leave those kids in the car. She could have brought them inside. Unless her kids is, nah, they little, unless they bad AF. Unless they're just running around, jumping off the blinds and bugging out, and like they weren't harmed or dirty or anything like that. So I don't get why she would like not want to bring him in. But I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. If you are able to, when you see this, hit that like, leave a comment, share the video. Let me know what you guys think. I'm going to try to react. This is reaction number 4. You got to start somewhere. I'm starting here. If you have any tips, let me know. Other than that, we'll see you guys on the next one. Everybody have a good night. A couple days before New Year, or the night before New Year's Eve. All y'all have a good one. Be safe. Take care. I will talk to you all soon.